Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
I was looking. I came out wide to look to see if there was any LAPD in the area. I saw several people. You saw it too. People scattering all of a sudden, running away from the sides, and then they came back. So I'm not sure if it was. Oh well, look at here. The CHP underneath. They're tossing flashbangs. So that's what they were scattering from. Those officers down there fighting back to protect their vehicles. Now they throw the smoke bomb back down. But and then more rocks being pelted. Oh, this officer came out. And he's getting it from all sides, actually. So he's going to retreat. Oh, he is getting hit. Boy, they're just raining down those rocks. He made it back safely. But look at this. This is savage to see this happen. Those are big rocks that are coming down on those vehicles and on those officers. Big enough to make the airbag deploy on this vehicle. There you can see the airbag.
My disappointment is I've been talking to the federal government for days. I was hoping to prevent this situation from happening. I was trying to encourage the administration that if they deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles, it would create a sense of chaos. It's the last thing our city needs. Our city is still trying to recover from the wildfires. And you just think about how so many people were impacted by that. And that's an example of where the administration was helpful. And to go from that situation to where we are now is just really tragic, and I think it's so unfortunate. It's the last thing Los Angeles needs. I'm worried about members of law enforcement. I'm worried about the safety of the people who are peacefully protesting. I'm worried about the businesses that might get vandalized. I'm worried about the vandalism that took place around the federal building. All of that. We do not need to see our city torn apart. And the idea that the federal government that should be assisting us is a contributing factor, I think is very tragic. When I see the protesters, I know that so many people are affected by this. Their families are affected by this. People are terrified.
The CHP says it has arrested 2 juveniles for throwing rocks and injuring a CHP officer during an ICE protest in downtown L.A. CHP says this video shows a rock hitting the CHP officer in the head, dislodging the officer's helmet and gas mask. The California Highway Patrol says the 2 juveniles were arrested yesterday for the crime nearly 2 weeks ago. One faces the charge of attempted murder of a peace officer. The other faces assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer.
Everybody ready? Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just say that I am proud to stand here with leaders from our region. There are over 30 mayors represented here who I think reflect the concerns that are going on in our communities right now. A week ago, everything was peaceful in the city of Los Angeles and in all of the representatives behind me in their cities as well. Things began to be difficult on Friday when raids took place. And it's important that I begin there because that is the cause of the problems that have happened in the city of Los Angeles and other cities. This was provoked by the White House. The reason why, we don't know. I posit that maybe we are part of a national experiment to determine how far the federal government can go in reaching in and taking over power from a governor, power from a local jurisdiction, and frankly, leaving our city and our citizens, our residents, in fear. All of us represent cities in this region where immigrants are key, and if in some cases not the majority of the population. To have people live in fear like it is today is just unacceptable. So we started off by hearing the administration wanted to go after violent felons, gang members, drug dealers. But when you raid Home Depots and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you're not trying to keep anyone safe. You're trying to cause fear and panic. And when you start deploying federalized troops on the heels of these raids, it is a drastic and chaotic escalation and completely unnecessary. These aren't the criminals the administration is allegedly targeting. These are mothers and fathers, restaurant workers, seamstress, home care workers, everyday Angelenos trying to make a living. We've heard stories of unmarked federal vans parked near LAUSD school graduations, a U.S. citizen 9 months pregnant who was hospitalized after being detained by federal agents, and an apparel business in downtown LA raided, where many Korean and Latino workers work long hours to support their families. Let me just say that I am very proud to stand here with the mayors, the leadership of so many cities, but you should take note that the individuals that are here with me today are all leaders in their area, and we all stand in support and solidarity and call for the raids to end.
Hello, Jane Secker, Sky News. A couple of questions. One to Fire Chief Maroney. More bad winds on the way. We know the conditions, as we've just heard, are going to be the same as last week. How confident are you that you're better prepared this time? And also a question for Mayor Bass, if I might. Our correspondent David Blevins asked you last week if you owe the people of Los Angeles an apology for cutting the fire budget. You didn't respond to him then. Would you like to respond to us now?
My focus is on us being prepared as a city for tomorrow. As you began, we could face another very difficult situation for thousands of Angelenos. When we are past this period, there will be an evaluation of everything that went on. And at that point in time, we will see there is not agreement as to whether or not the budget was cut. All of those issues will be resolved when we are clear that Angelenos are safe and we are ready to rebuild our city. Thank you.
Well, that was Jane Secker asking the questions at that news conference in Los Angeles. And Jane joins me now from LA. That happened in the last hour, Jane. What did you make of the answers they gave?
Well, it was interesting, wasn't it, hearing Mayor Bass again. This is the second time that Sky News have directly asked her if there is an apology for the people of Los Angeles for the fallout from these fires. She declined the second opportunity to give an apology to that. She actually said that we will look and see whether the fire budget had been decreased, but that is something that seems to be on record from all the other authorities that we've spoken to over the last week. What really struck me from that press conference is the sense that they are trying to get the message out to Los Angelenos to batten down the hatches. Some 70-mile-an-hour winds potentially on the horizon. We also got an update on figures: 24 deaths, 23 missing. The two biggest fires, Eaton, 14,000 acres destroyed. The Palisades, 27,000 acres destroyed. But the same conditions are now expected in the next 24 hours. The LA District Supervisor said these winds are significant, they are serious, and you need to follow evacuation orders.
Required by the law enforcement people. They have to be treated medically if they're hurt, or if they are complaining of injury, and it's a very difficult endeavor.
Your reaction, Randy, we're watching live. I don't know how well you can see it from your vantage point, but we're watching live as we're seeing objects being thrown from protesters down onto the freeway where officers are staged. What does this look like to you?
Well, in my point of view, there should be officers deployed that take those individuals into custody and charge them with the felony crimes that they should be charged with. And anybody that interferes with those arrests, they need to go as well. It's time, have people pay the penalty for what they're doing. And dropping objects onto police officers is simply something that should not be acceptable. And I'm telling you that somebody is going to be taking a live round if they're trying to kill a cop. It's going to happen. And this is a situation that really needs to be handled and needs to be handled quickly and efficiently.
And those are rocks. We see a number of good-sized rocks down there on the freeway. At least one back windshield looks to me to be smashed in. A number of those officers, what does it look like to you? Does it look like they might be gathered where they are simply so that they can be underneath the overpass and out of harm's way for any projectiles that may come down at them?
Yes, that's exactly.
Like they're in proximity to them, though.
Yeah, that is why they're under the overpass. Is to protect them from being pummeled by a large object. But and here's the thing: police can't and won't use deadly force in a situation involving property damage. That is not something that's in the rule book here. It would have to be them facing physical danger from death or serious bodily injury. That's the criteria.
Looks like they're moving, and if you can watch this live. This is viewer discretion advised. We don't exactly know what's going to happen here, but if you can walk us through what you're seeing, what does it look like these officers? It looks like they're trying to get out from underneath the overpass, perhaps move away from the debris that are being thrown down at them at this point.
Well, it appears that they're using some low lethality rounds to shoot above where the objects are being thrown from. They're clearly being deployed to do something, but I don't know what that something is.
And always important to mention, too, that the video journalists down on the ground recording every second of this, it's a very important job. And we saw this person duck down. As soon as we saw the less than lethal rounds starting to be used, we saw a number of those videographers taking cover. So, Lieutenant Randy Sutton, we thank you for being generous with your time this evening. Take care. We'll keep an eye on the situation.
Well, one thing I would like to add before we take leave here, and that is for any of the officers who have been hurt here. If you've been hurt physically, remember the Wounded Blue is there for you. Go to thewoundedblue.org. Reach out for help. We will be there for you 24/7.
Do you have any comments about, or do you have any reports about the raids that happened today in the morning in the city of Downey?
No, but I think that the mayor from Downey did address that and can address that a little later.
I know yesterday you spoke about trying to contact President Trump. Were you able to make any contact at all with anyone in the administration?
I have actually a call in the next few minutes, not with him, but to get that call set up.
And what were you planning on telling that person? Can you tell us?
Well, yeah, that I want to speak to the president and that I want him to understand the significance of what is happening here. You know, there are reports that if all of the military that have been designated to be deployed, if you add them all up, it's more military than are serving today in Iraq. And the money that is being spent, $130 million, all of our cities could use that money.
I was hoping you could speak to the fact that some people have described what's going on as rioting, whether you agree or disagree with that terminology, and if you disagree with it, I was hoping you could confirm that no one is being booked under Penal Code 404, which is the rioting penal code.
I have not heard that. I've not heard of anybody being booked under that. You know, we established a curfew last night, and there were over 100 arrests, but they weren't for looting. They weren't for vandalism. They were for a failure to disperse, as well as a curfew violation. So what I'm hoping is that people got the message that we're serious, and we won't even have those arrests tonight.
And what do you think about the rioting terminology?
Well, let me just tell you that the picture that is attempted to being portrayed, and all of us are impacted by this. If you look at TV and you see people who are demonstrating, some inappropriately, some violently, which I believe that anybody that's involved in violence or looting or vandalism is not supporting the cause of immigrants. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing that, because they know that that can trigger an even greater reaction from the administration. And so that is a picture you'd know in downtown Los Angeles, because we are here. You know that this is isolated to several streets in downtown Los Angeles. The curfew that we put in place yesterday is about 6 square miles of a city that is 500 square miles. So the portrayal is that all of our cities are in chaos, rioting is happening everywhere. It is a lie.
Do you disagree with that terminology?
We got to go here and then we're going to come over this stuff. Clearly, you don't want the National Guard or the Marines here, but
They're not needed.
yeah, but since they are here, is there any line of communication set up between your office or Chief McDonald's office and whoever is in charge of those Marines and National Guard? Is there a line of communication?
Okay, first of all, the last I talked to the chief, there was no line of communication with the Marines. The line of communication is with the federalized National Guard, and you know they have one mission here, and that is to protect one building downtown. They weren't needed for that then, they're not needed now. When we did the curfew last night, it was all local law enforcement.
Do you believe there should be a line of communication?
Absolutely. I mean, well, first of all, I don't think it should be happening at all. But yes, there should be a line of communication.
So U.S. Attorney Bill Daley did announce some charges today.
Oh, he did? Okay.
And he said, quote, when protesting crosses the line into violence, the penalties will be severe. He's talking about up to 10 years in prison for possessing Molotov cocktails. At the same time, you have President Kuwait one pardons the January 6th rioters. Is there a double standard there, and what do you think about it?
Well, I think you just illustrated the double standard. And given that I was there on January 6th and saw an insurrection take place, the idea that what is happening here, is an insurrection is just false. And I think it is deliberately false. I don't think they're confused.
We're going to come down here to the post and then Craig will down.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Madam Mayor, the protests are spreading from Los Angeles to other cities.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, what does that say about how the Trump administration is handling not only these protests, but their immigration policy?
Well, I mean, I think that the other cities recognize if the nation's second largest city and our region that has 88 cities in it and is larger than 40 states, that's LA County, if it can happen here, then what does that say about states whose population doesn't even match the population of our county? Well, yes. So let me just say that the emergency declaration that I signed yesterday does not have a time limit to it. And so the curfews will go on as long as they are needed. But you know, it's really kind of interdependent on what the response is from the federal side. If there are raids that continue, if there are soldiers marching up and down our street, I would imagine that the curfew will continue. What I'm hoping is that Angelino's got the message last night that we are serious. The fact that the arrests last night were relatively minor, I am hoping that we won't have any arrests tonight.
The report last night is expected.
Yes, it did.
We're going to go to Josh, AP, and then
Mayor, I know you've asked the administration to stop the raids, but have you gotten any indication that the raids are going to stop?
No, as a matter of fact, I think all of us probably have the same. I mean, at this point in time, we're functioning on rumors. And so the latest rumor that I'm aware of is that it's going to last for 30 days, but I really do have to say it's a rumor. Has anybody heard anything different? Right, but you see the point. We don't know. And that uncertainty creates fear and terror in our people.
And I know you don't know what the Marines are going to do.
No, I do not.
Are you open to the idea of suggesting that maybe they assist the LAPD in enforcing the curfew? And
Absolutely not. As one of our Marines who is up here, they are trained in warfare on foreign lands, not domestic. They cannot arrest. I don't know what role that they would play. And then just think about having the military here. When you see what's going on around here, if you drive a few blocks outside of downtown, you don't know that anything is happening in the city at all. The metrics for lifting the curfew are twofold. Number one, a night where there's no arrest, okay? But number two, it's interdependent on what happens with the administration.
And then, you describe these arrests as minor.
Minor meaning unlawful assembly and curfew.
Right. So not
No, of course not. Well, what I do believe is that we need to evaluate what has happened. One thing about our cities is that there's cameras everywhere. So individuals might not have been arrested on the day they committed the crime. It doesn't mean they won't coming down the line. But there have been allegations, and we need to check into each one of those. Right. Well, let me just tell you that I don't have any idea how much is being spent in overtime now. Again, unnecessary. Didn't need to happen in the first place. I am concerned about the budget impacts. We had almost $1 billion deficit here, and so I'm concerned about that. But there's no way of knowing, and there's also no way of knowing when it's going to end. Well, let me just tell you that the alternative is to stay silent. And to me, I am going to continue to advocate on a federal level and look at the breadth and power that is represented here. You have over 30 leaders of cities. 30 cities joining together to talk about how this is impacting all of us. You know that in a year, the World Cup is going to be here? 8 games. All of our cities are going to be involved in the World Cup. I know the president is excited about the World Cup and wants to be supportive of the World Cup. The best way to support the World Cup? In the raids, and frankly, share some of that financial support that you're giving unnecessarily to the military. That the raids don't end no. I mean, we are stuck in this no man's land of not having any idea when the policy will end. In all fairness, in 2020, I was in Congress and I was doing police reform on a national level. So I spent most of my time visiting other cities. So I can't comment about 2020 here. We are trying to quantify that now, and I would invite the other mayors that have experienced raids, if they have quantified it now. But looking at police overtime, looking at the vandalism that took place in the downtown area and other areas, there was also, the looting that took place on one night, or maybe it was 2 nights. All of that is going to be a cost. But, to me, it is also the human cost, the cost of these families being divided, for kids not knowing where their parents are, for kids and families being afraid to go to graduations. I had talked to a friend that went to the grocery store and the shelves were empty. Why? Because the immigrant labor didn't come to work. And this is an issue whether you are legal or not. You have people going to the immigration office for their annual check-ins that they're supposed to do with papers and going in and getting detained along with their families. So, I think the cost has to be looked at comprehensively, not just to vandalism and police overtime, but the human cost to the disruption of these families. Let me just say that the shows and all of that, I have not heard of one, but they are going to be accommodated. So the law enforcement knows that this is a major entertainment center and that, shows are going to take place. So that will be accommodated.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Take a look at this here on your screen. We have a post from a Fox 11 reporter, Matthew Seedorf, saying, breaking, federal sources tell me the, quote, rock thrower from Saturday's violent clash in Paramount, California has been identified as Elpidio Reyna. The FBI believes Reyna is the man seen on video hurling rocks at Border Patrol agents. There's a $50,000 reward leading to his arrest. It does get cut off a little bit there. But I want to showcase some of that video that Matthew is referencing to here. He did break this story for our team at Fox 11. So take a look here in case you have not seen it yet. These are just some of the videos that we have been showcasing for you, and that is the suspect that right now I do believe police are still looking for. Authorities there identifying that man. Now on Saturday, Border Patrol had a staging area in Paramount, California, when they were confronted by protesters Agitators then started throwing glass bottles and chunks of cement toward authorities, who fired back with tear gas and rubber bullets. Video there obtained by Fox shows Border Patrol agents leaving the tense situation Saturday while their vehicle was hit by numerous rocks. The FBI used social media videos and a Fox 11 News report to identify that rock thrower. According to officials, they're going to continue investigating protest videos shared on social media to make additional arrests. They had said this: "We have a mission here in Los Angeles. We won't be deterred from that mission, whether it's arresting illegal aliens or protecting federal facilities. We are going to do that. If anyone thinks this guy or any other thug out there is going to stop us from doing our job, they've got to think again." Again, that is law enforcement down there in Los Angeles. The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for any information leading to that suspect's arrest. We're going to continue to follow the story and bring you all those latest details.
Level, and we want that, and we're demanding that of the governor. The other thing is, we'll do anything necessary to keep the Olympics safe, including using our National Guard or military. Okay? No, I will use the National Guard or military. This is going to be so safe, and if we have to, because obviously you have a mayor that is not very competent. She can't get the permits for the people. You know, the people are still waiting for their permits. Lee Zeldin got them the federal permit, which is 10 times harder to get, and everybody can build on the federal basis, and that's the hard one. But the mayor, Bass, she refuses to or cannot get them permits. They're waiting. And I was there right after the fires, and I saw all these beautiful people standing by their homes, ready to get in and get to work. And they're waiting for their permits, and they're still waiting for their state permits and city permits. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
You have to remember, I've been here before, and I went right by every rule, and I waited for governors to say, send in the National Guard. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it, and they just wouldn't do it. It kept going on and on. Got worse and worse. And in Minneapolis, that city was burning down 7 days. And I said, I don't care. The governor, who's a governor that just happened to be running for vice president, a total, you talk about an incompetent governor. He's an incompetent person. That he was picked. Well, I was actually very happy he was picked for other reasons. But this guy wouldn't call the National Guard. And we ultimately just sent in the National Guard. We stopped it. But that was after 7 days. And I said to myself, if that stuff happens again, we've got to make faster decisions because they don't want to do it. If we didn't send in the National Guard quickly, right now, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground.